Welcome back to the Off the Rails podcast. This is episode 12. That means we've done this for 3 months now. Yeah, so it'll be the end of March 30th. Episode 12 comes out. I'll be halfway to Florida by then, but I'll be listening, I'm sure, because I always like listening to these again. But make sure you guys are sharing this out. It'll be on YouTube. It'll be on Facebook. It'll be on Anchor, which means it'll be on Spotify. It'll be everywhere. So I know that makes you feel a lot better.
That's great.
So I'm going to let our guests introduce themselves. From Shenandoah, we've got some school discussions to come in this podcast. So we're going to let you two guys take it away and tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and how you're working at Shenandoah.
I'm Emma Marshall, and I'm the guidance counselor at Shenandoah High School.
And I'm Chris Shepner. I'm the elementary guidance counselor at Shenandoah.
Alrighty. And we're here today to talk a little bit about the new curriculum or the curriculum showcase coming up April 8th, as well as the Shenandoah NHS inductions are that day. We will be live with that. If you want to watch it, tune into that. But yeah, I mean, we brought you guys on. You guys have new curriculum. Is it new curriculum? Am I saying that right? Or is it a curriculum showcase of what you're already doing?
It's a curriculum showcase
Okay.
Of what we're already doing, but we have a lot of new things happening that we'd like to share out.
Okay. Yeah, I want to make sure I got that right because I was like new and then they're like, well, so it works
So you're
out.
actually yes and yes. So
It's both.
new and
I got you. So we're going to let them talk a little bit about that. I believe, we sat in here with Dan and Justin a little bit. They were saying, we're looking at more STEM focused, more there's multiple paths as far as getting places. It's not just the same set schedule for every student or every classroom. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about that.
Exactly. High school's not the high school that we once knew. It's not the same as what parents went through and grandparents. We have so many different pathways now for students that they go where they need to go, because not everybody needs to be on the same path. We have a lot of college credit plus options at the high school. Like you said, we are a STEM designated school, so we have a lot in the, we have robotics, we have drones. You can get your drone license, something new that's added. So those will all be showcased on April the 8th.
Okay. And sounds good. So, I mean, you're still in the same building, but there's a lot going on under the skin that is very different and very adaptable.
Yeah, if you drive by, the building looks the same, but when you walk through those doors, and there's lots of renovations going on, we have new lab spaces in our back hallway. So on the 8th, you'll be able to tour the facility and look at those.
Okay.
Well.
And this is open to parents or everyone?
It's open
Community.
to everyone.
Community?
Yeah,
Everybody.
community.
So if you're not doing anything April 8th, go to Shenandoah. There'll be something to do down there.
Definitely.
But tell us a little bit about the new stuff you have coming on top of the stuff you're going to be showcasing. The new stuff. What is that?
Well, at the high school, I guess district-wide though, but I was thinking high school because FFA is really involved with the new school farm. Not just FFA, it's going to be district-wide. Kindergarten through 12th grade is going to be incorporated to this farm. So that's something new that's coming. The complex will be built, I think, this summer.
Correct. We already have how many head of cattle? 3 or 4?
4, I believe.
I think it's 4.
Yeah, I believe it's 4. So that's growing. I guess I did mention the drone. That is new.
And if you don't mind me stepping in, when you think
definitely.
about the farm, you think ag, you think of FFA.
That's what I said.
So like when you think of the drones and you think of a farm, you also need to think about, okay, we're going to be needing advertising. So students are going to be able to look at multimedia with this farm. They're going to be able to look at business, with ag. All of these things are going to be incorporated at a very
Young
unique
age.
level.
Unique and diverse.
With it, but it's going to be around the farm.
Okay.
We're also looking at beekeeping potentially at the elementary, and that right now is looking at pretty serious, and it's going to be where are we going to put it? Put it right. But
Right.
we're looking at that.
Yeah.
We're looking at drones again. We're looking at we have the drones. We have robotics. We are also adding a multimedia But all of the classes, pre-K through 8, actually pre-K through 12, we are looking at a lot of STEM. We're looking at hands-on and life skills that are coming out of those things. That's, we're looking at things that they're doing that is very authentic learning as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a lot less of that, industrial revolution style, go to class, 8 periods, I'm sure the times are the same as far as you're still going to school in the morning and stuff, but
Right.
you're getting away from, not completely, but you're getting into more of the new school technology, making sure, hey, for example, you mentioned the drone stuff. I got my drone license in college, and so I was able to go and fly and do all kinds of different stuff. But there is a lot of technology that does go into just even the agricultural side. So if you go and for example, we've plotted land before with our drones. We can map 3D areas. We can show you elevations, different crop, yield. It's still a newer technology, but you can basically take this image. It takes hundreds and hundreds of photos over acres of land, and then you can circle off a piece of land and say, okay, like how many of X do I have in here? Be it corn, be it wheat, whatever it is, and it'll tell you have about this much. And so that is a really good thing for kids to be learning, especially in this area where we do have, we're starting to breach into a more technological society. We're not, Columbus, whatever it is, they've had technology for a while. Sounds like we live in the Stone Age, but no. So, they've had these newer technologies longer, but it's starting to get here. We're starting to get, newer, faster internet. We're starting to get this it's more accessible to get drones, to get cameras, to do all this stuff. I mean, I have cameras and stuff. I mean, should I? Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But, it's accessible now. It's not something you look at and you're like, well, I got to live in Columbus to do this. Well, if I want this job, I have to move to California. Or if I want to do this, I got to move here. So it's something the kids can learn. And then, like we talked a little bit about before we even started, was, it's something that, do I like this? Maybe. I need to know if I like it or not.
Right.
And I think that's a really good opportunity coming from this. So detail a little bit more on the robotics side. What does the robotics program or the robotics curriculum entail?
Well, right now our robotics department is very busy with like the laser cutters. They're using those. They're using 3D printers in that class, and that's a lot of a graphic design class as well. So that all kind of falls together. And one really neat thing that we have going on at the high school, we have like a badging system. So when the students, if they're in a sport or a program or something, they have perfect attendance, 4.0. They're making these like magnets to stick on their locker. So
Okay.
it's almost, it's become something that the kids are like, oh man, when am I going to get my next one? How
That's
do
cool.
I get my next one? So it's great.
Yeah, so that's kind of a reward system that everyone can see, walking through the hallways.
Yeah.
It's kind of a Boy Scout or a Girl Scout-esque thing that you can implement through the entire school, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And so all you said they're all K through 12 pretty much. Anyone can start with robotics, anyone can start with ag.
I'm glad you say that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
As a matter of fact, I walked out. I did not realize that this was happening yet. And I walked out, and in our cafeteria is our IT guy, Philip Theobald, and his son, Aiden. Amazing.
Wonderful. Yeah.
And there they were with second graders coding. And these second graders were loving it. And they were all engaged. And it was just so fun to watch them, get to experience that coding, at that age.
Yeah.
And so I went up to Mr. Theobald and was talking to him. And of course, he has a shirt that says code or coding on it that day. So of course, I had to tweet it out. But, and he said, well, come back tomorrow because first graders will be here doing the same thing. So yeah, we're starting very, very early.
Well, and that's a really good thing because especially with coding, you mentioned that, it's basically another language. It's something you learn. It's something you have to know how to speak in. I would have loved to learn it. That's maybe a lie because I probably could have if I would have really loved to. But it was something I tried like later on, like in college. I'm like, it's it's a lot to take on, especially if you're not, you're doing all these other things. But it's literally another language. And so, science shows the earlier someone learns another language, the better off they are going to be at adapting to it. And so I think you could probably adapt that to even the drone stuff as far as the hand-eye coordination part. It's something that you have to learn. It's like riding a bike. Once you get it, it's not too bad. But at the beginning, you're like, now, why is this doing, you're crashing into stuff and doing all this. So starting at a younger age, I think, is also going to help, instill those skills into the kids and keep them there versus, me now, if you tried to show me how to code, I could probably learn, but if I stop doing it for a while, I'm probably going to forget it. And it's one of those things where when you're younger, you kind of latch onto it. Your brain's still developing, and I think it kind of sits in your mind a little more. And so I think that's something really, really good. Was that something you guys thought about as far as implementing the newer programs and different curriculum? Was we need to do this earlier so that they can learn these things quicker or more? Their brains are a lot more adaptable versus someone like me. So.
Well, and plus, like me at my age, it would be pretty comical probably to see that. But I have to say, I think everything that we're doing now for our students is basically giving them things to explore, their interests, their talents, their gifts that they have, and allowing them more exposure to these things. And then as they're moving up, then we look into more career exploration. And with that, then, if they've already started coding and they've done a lot of these things, then they know what they like, what they don't like, too. So
And then when they get to the high school, then we can get them on the pathway that they need to reach their career goals, their education goals, whatever that may be.
Okay.
After they graduate, if they decide to go on to college, if they decide to go straight into the workforce, our goal is to have all of our students either enrolled, employed, or enlisted.
Yeah. So you're giving the students options, which is really, really nice.
Lots of options.
Yeah, right. Whereas for me, there were options, and this wasn't that long, I guess 2015, 16, whatever. But, even back then, even further than that, there weren't really a lot of options. It was, here's what we're going to learn. Here's what we're teaching. You're going to go to college. You're going to do this. You're going to do this. And it's, there's obviously the trade schools. The trade schools are always a big thing too, that I think a lot of kids don't think about that are really, really nice. But, having those options and being able to help kids know that there is more than one path to success. There is more than one way to complete a goal. I think that's something that's really, really cool that is going to come out of this. I can hear the sirens in the background. What are some of the different, I was going to say main, but I'm sure there's a lot of them. So what are some of the differences between this curriculum versus a traditional, school, eight periods a day, kind of grind, do this, do that? It's more flexible. What makes it more flexible? What options do these kids now have?
Well, we do have flexible scheduling at the high school.
Okay.
And like you said, there's just a wide variety of, we're a satellite campus of Zane State College. So if you're on that college route, then you can take the College Credit Plus classes. If you're on a more traditional route, then there's just the courses at the high school for high school credit. I guess what makes it different, there's just so many things like we talked about before that have not been offered before. And a lot of the suggestions and ideas have come from the students.
Okay.
So they're like, hey, why can't we try this? Or we'd really like to have that. And we're like, why not? Why can't we try that? So students have a large voice in our school.
Okay.
Telling us what
So you're giving the kids more of a voice. That's nice. I like that. I like that a lot. And I'm working on my voice, so that would have been helpful back when I was in high school. But and I was just thinking, the new jobs, the new opportunities that they have in today's world are a lot different than they used to be. And I think that is going to be very helpful to have these different STEM technologies, science, tech, what's E? what is E for STEM?
Engineering.
Engineering, that's what it is. I knew it was something sciencey, and then math, that's STEM. Come on, you know this. But no, and so, focusing more in on those, more technical, more, I guess you could say more, not advanced. What am I? Should have finished
you're
college.
looking at more critical thinking. So
Yeah,
when
right.
you look at advanced, I mean, you're looking at more critical thinking. When you're looking at hands-on, we have our business advisory. So when we're listening to employers tell us what they need out of our students so that they can be good employees and eventually employers themselves, we're looking at what is it that they want? What do our students need? And so a lot of that is a lot of collaboration, communication skills, and, critical thinking, citizenship.
A lot of problem-based learning
Right.
is happening,
Right.
which will apply to anything as life goes on.
Right. Right. And I think that's becoming more apparent with, as society changes. It's a lot less, we need you to do this task over and over again for 8 hours a day. It's, all right, and that's something we're starting to figure out here even. We don't technically employ anyone, but we do have a lot of independent contractors. And so we're starting to learn that, or I guess I am, that I want people that can do it, like go and find something to do themselves, where I don't have to say, hey, here's this, here's how to do it, here's what to do on it. It's, hey, you can go do this thing, and for the most part it gets done, and then if we need to adjust, I can help work on the video, or I can help do the live part. And we're starting to find biggest thing, live streaming. We had to kind of figure out how to do that in a few weeks. We'd done some in the past, but to find people that could come in and, learn a system or learn a live stream setup quickly, that was really important. And I don't think it really even mattered how much of a background they had in broadcasting, in media, in cameras, or whatever it is. It was a puzzle. It's basically an advanced puzzle. Is this goes here, this plugs in here, turn this on. And to find people that can problem solve is much more valuable than to find someone that can't but knows about a camera.
Right. Absolutely.
And so you guys are probably doing a lot with that as well. What would be something, for example, the showcase on the 8th, what are going to be some of the like highlights of the night? What are some things that are going to be showcased throughout the event?
Well, at our pre-K through 4, they're actually going to have literacy night activities. So what that's going to look like is they're going to have book reads. They're going to have different activities for students and families to do. The community is welcome to be a part of any of this, but it's mainly going to be geared towards literacy. And obviously that's a big thing. K-12, is to improve literacy. And so you're going to see a lot of hands-on activities there. And then 5 through 8, basically it's going to be a matter of families coming in, students showcasing what some of the classes are like, what they're learning, and teachers being able to answer questions of the community, parents, grandparents, coming in. Okay. So there'll be a lot of hands-on activities, but there'll also be a lot of just interaction of, how does this class work? What am I going to learn? If I'm a 6th grader coming into the 7th grade, why do I want to take this class? Almost like an advertisement. What can I get from you from this class? What am I going to learn? Okay.
So is it station based? Is there different like stations that kids will go to, parents, community, or is it kind of like a K through 4 event, 4+ event, high school event, or is it like, hey, we're going to have like different, almost like an expo? Is it more in that sense?
It's very much like an expo.
Okay.
So the K4, yes, they're going to have their, it's going to be pretty structured there. But then 5 through 8, when the community comes in, parents, anybody comes in, we will have maps available of the building as to where the different teachers will be. And so they can choose, well, I want to go here, or I want to go, so it's not like they have a certain time limit. However, we are asking families like A through L to go, to be there like 5 to 6:30, M through Z, 6:30, to
Right.
8. Of course, if somebody can't be there because of work schedule, we're going to be very flexible. But so we're also going to make sure everybody's wearing their masks.
Yeah.
Everybody's social distancing. Also, we're limiting activities to 15 minutes or less for that very reason as well. So, but it's going to be a lot of everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
when they
At
come
the high
through.
school, we're going to have the gymnasium available and have different tables set up, kind of like you said, like an expo where you can go around and view the different programs that we offer, the different courses that we offer, the sports, the different, like we have ski club, the different clubs that we, have. Each of them are going to have a table. We're going to have students available to give tours that night to kind of, so there's not as much congestion, like you said, make sure that we're social distancing. And some of the classrooms are also going to be open so you
Okay.
can see some of the new lab spaces.
Yeah. And what has been, who or what, you can go with either or both, whatever you want. Who or what has been a big influence in pushing this new curriculum, pushing this new agenda per se of here's what we're going to move into this new world, basically. We're going to get into tech. We're going to get into the sciences. We're going to start learning these things. We need to teach our kids this and start developing a new plan that's not this same thing over and over again.
Wow. I think just as our world is changing, we are all adapting. And I have to say, we're very lucky to have Mr. Leffingwell there as the driving force, truly. However, he's good about networking and bringing ideas to us. But honestly, I think that when there's an idea brought to our staff that this is what our students are going to need 10 years down the road, or we don't know, the staff has been so fantastic to just jump right. I'll do it. I mean,
we truly have a top-notch staff.
We do.
We do. I mean, they do whatever is asked of them. They go above and beyond. Whatever our students need, they provide. It's what's best for our students is the question that's always asked and answered, and delivered.
Yeah. And I've been to Shenandoah for some basketball games when I was, in high school. I've been there for some this year too. I've been filming some. But back in high school, we'd come over, and now, looking at 2020, 2021, there's a lot of new stuff in the building. A lot of new stuff. And, are there some of those things you'd like to, the big one I've seen a lot is the new gymnasium.
It's awesome.
But I know there's a lot of other stuff going on outside of that as well. Is there new stuff for the ags? Is there like a new greenhouse or something?
Yes,
That's what I thought.
There's a greenhouse that kind of sits off to the side of the school. We have like new lab spaces in the manufacturing. So we have welding stations for the students so they can take welding there. We have an advanced manufacturing course in there, and there's a skills boss machine where it's kind of like a simulator where the students can go in and learn how to use that, which they can be credentialed actually and get a certification once they pass some course or some tests after taking that. So that lab space is pretty neat. Our food nutrition lab, Miss Harper has a pretty nice kitchen in there. Her students they're wonderful. They cater events, so if you need anything catered, get a hold of her and put a little plug in there for her. So.
Yeah, and do you guys print your own banners too?
We
Is that correct?
Yeah.
I thought about that because I'm like, I need some banners.
They can definitely hook you up.
Yeah,
They're beautiful.
They are. They do a wonderful job.
But yeah, so just the difference that even 4 or 5 years has made, and it was starting. I think there was some new stuff when I was in high school going in over there, but the difference just so quickly. It's just been so quick, and it's been fun to watch. Even as a college kid, I guess at the time, I'm like, man, like. We're growing, like the area is growing as a whole, Shenandoah definitely, but even, Meadowbrook, kind of when I was in school at that point, we turned our library into a new college credit plus lab. And so we had new classrooms and all this stuff. And so it's really fun to watch this area kind of adapt and change and start to really grow and be something. And so, yeah, actually on the college credit plus curriculum, what are some things that your kids can start to take college-wise at the school? your high schoolers?
Name it.
Yeah, name it. We have a teacher academy. So if you want to go into education, you can start taking those courses in high school as well. We are adding a medical, actually like a hospital room in the high school to do a medical assistant program. So there's a pathway. You can get an associate's degree to lead to the medical field. There's a general one. It's like Mrs. Shepner said, you name it. I mean,
Okay. And that's all through Zane State?
yeah,
correct?
and some also through Washington State Community College. We also partner with them.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I took some when I was in high school, and it was a very, very good thing. It helps you, especially if you're on the fence about college even. Take them, they're free. So at least ours, I don't know, are they free to the students and then the schools pay for them still?
Yes,
okay.
that is correct.
I didn't want to say that and be like, well, no, it's not. But yeah, if you're thinking about college and you're not sure, take them in high school. And then that way you can kind of get an idea of what a class is like, what it's going to look like, how it feels, what the workload's going to be like. And then if you're like, well, maybe not, talk to your advisors, get to, find different options, find your different routes. But if you did like it, guess what? Now you're already X amount of credits in. I mean, I think I had 15 to 18 credits before I left high school, which is almost a year or semester. It's almost a year, I think.
Now they can get a year to 2 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And now is dual enrollment included in that with the college credit plus? Where
they get high school credit as well. Yeah.
Okay.
To meet your
is that
graduation
the
requirements.
definition of it?
Yep.
I'm not on the teaching side, so I don't know a lot, but I know that we would have dual enrollment, college credit. You could do post-secondary and everything.
Yeah. I mean, if there's a program out there that we do not offer, then and the college campus offers it, then we do have students still that leave to go do that as well.
Okay. And what is in the pipeline? What's, anything that's coming? What's next? Or can you not say?
We have a business pathway in the works. I know that's coming, and
well, and I can say this right now, and it's not necessarily that it's I guess it's coming this coming year when we're looking at the pathways. If a student needs 4 years for a pathway, that's one thing. Well, now we are having this coming school year, the 8th graders will actually start up at the high school and they can actually begin some of their pathways if they're interested, if they know next year. So they can have 5 years to work on those pathways. That's a pretty nice jump.
Okay.
And a nice jump start.
With those pathways. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you keep going.
Right. I was just going to say with that, like you can take get your gym credit out of the way, your fine art credit out of the way, so that when you are a junior and a senior, you can be more specialized in what you want to go into.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Okay,
I was going to say,
perfect.
does it count towards your high school credit? So yes, it does.
It does.
Yeah,
That's
they
good.
all do. And I mean, we're looking at ag, drones,
yeah.
and again, if they do the drone 1, the drone 2, then they can get their license after they're 16. And yeah, it's
we can do band, choir, theater, guitar.
All at the 8th grade level.
correct.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. You can even start with like your manufacturing technology. You can start that course early, so that you have enough time throughout your high school career to get all the courses in.
Okay. And as far as this might be, this works. As far as bringing people in from outside the school, to not teach classes or do X, but for example, with Meadowbrook, we do the Makers program. And so they have their kids, and we're doing middle school right now, but I go once a week, teach middle school kids about photography or teach them about video work. And I don't know, I want to say it's a national thing where like any school could come in and start doing a Makers program. I think it stands for something. Makers is an acronym, but I don't know what it stands for. But I think those kids are starting to, the first few weeks I was like, guys, it's going to be boring. Like we got to get the boring part out of the way. Taught them a little bit, we had different PowerPoints and all that stuff. But now, it's warm outside. We're going out, we're taking photos, we're having like little competitions. We're taking them out and saying, all right, we need a picture of the rain, not the rainbow, but a color, every color in the rainbow. And so then they'll go on a scavenger hunt and try to find something, and we'd make it a little more difficult because otherwise they'd sit in one spot. There's something red, there's something green, but we get a little in depth with it. But outside of, just your teachers, are there community members? Are there other business owners coming in and providing, some types or helping and inform these kids on different things?
Well, we do have people come in and speak to our students about different job avenues and different careers. But as far as coming in and like you're doing, that's fantastic. Like to have you actually teaching. Ours is more of a day or 2 day, kind of a presentation almost.
Yeah, no, and that you get a lot of that too, where I'll have, other schools ask, hey, can you, and we'll do them virtual. I'll sit right here with all this set up and everything, and they love it. They're like, I'll turn this camera on that you guys are using, and I'll cut like to a close angle and be like, here's what the camera, and they're like, how's he doing that on Google Meet, or whatever it is. And so it's pretty cool. But I think those kids, and it's just once a week. We're not doing, 2 or 3 days a week, but it's something that it's an after school program, I think, where it's like, it's the hour after school. They've got, and it's something good too, where, the kids that aren't in sports, the kids that parents are working a little later, they have something to now do, and their parents don't have to worry about who's picking Johnny up today, whatever it is. But those kids they're starting to come around, some of them were just all over the place week 1 through 3. And now they're like, what's this do? Look at this picture I took. And I'm like, yeah, that's good. And so that might be something to even look at. It's called Makers. I don't know what it stands for. I should probably look it up, but it's a cool little club thing. I think
I'll have to look into that.
Starting to integrate.
Yeah. Well, as you're talking about that, I'm thinking about the esports has taken on a life of its own too. Mr. Theobald, who else is helping with that besides Mr. Theobald? But I mean, I honestly am not even sure how young, but it goes down to fairly
I think so,
young that they're doing the esports, and the kids are absolutely loving it. And that's obviously after school program.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think Meadowbrook, they got an esports program after we were out, so we were still just the weird gamer kids at that point. But no, it was definitely, that's something that's needed in more of the schools in the area. And I think once more of them adapt it, or at least get it more integrated, it could almost be its own, like we have the OHSA for sports, we have the ECOL, we have the MVO, we have the IVC, all these different branches of different places. It could have its own little niche where like, hey, who you playing today? And I know Kyle Huck with Apex Gaming, do they go down there and play any down there?
They do go down there. Yes. Okay.
Because that's kind of the one spot there's not even really a place in Cambridge for it, but Caldwell, they're getting it. So, but that's something I've always thought about was, man, it'd be sweet if I could, because I like video games. I played a lot of them in 8th grade through high school, through whatever. That's kind of how I started with the video stuff, was I was making videos of me playing video games. And it kind of turned into, well, now I need a camera so that my face cam looks better. And then I was like, well, now that I have a camera, I can turn it around and start filming other things. So it really did work out for me, I guess. But that was kind of where I started, was little just on my phone, just recording video games. And I did okay for just being freshman in high school. So
I think you're doing okay now.
I think so too.
The adaptability of it.
The pudding, right?
Right. And I think that's something you're going to see more, not only just in real life, but through these programs. It is real life. Don't get me wrong. But through the programs is you're going to see these kids come out that are, well, now I don't have to be worried about just going to college. I don't have to be worried about my only option being the military, or like whatever it is. They've got these options to go and be what they want to be. And I think that's a really, really good thing. I mean, it is a very good thing to be able to say, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try that. No, I didn't like that. Can we do this instead? Yes, you can.
Yep.
So I think that's going to be one of the bigger things that comes out of this program that Shenandoah is implementing, or has already started implementing, with new things coming. So do you guys have anything else you want to add to any of the show notes? Any of the, did we miss anything?
I don't think so. I think the biggest thing is we want everybody to know that everybody is welcome to come. We want to truly allow our students and our staff to showcase what we're doing. Because, we are probably our worst PR. It just, it's tough for a teacher. I remember, in the classroom, it was very tough to say, oh, look what I did,
Yeah.
but,
Right. Right.
but it's so important because who else is going to tell the story?
Yeah.
And our kids need us telling our story,
Mm-hmm.
so
there are just so many opportunities. And like we said earlier, when you drive by the buildings, it just looks like the same old on the outside, but man, there's some really great things happening inside those walls.
Yeah. And I think getting, this type of PR even is nice because we're somewhere in between. We've got a little bit of a high school audience, but we're definitely, I think our target demographic is the parent. It's a 20, I looked at them yesterday. It's like 25 to 40, that age group is the podcast group. So this will be really good. And, for example, even with some of these different things that we talked about, we can cut those into clips. If we want to throw those out on the Shenandoah page or throw those out on the Noble Local Schools Twitter, we can do that. And then this will help relay that information as well.
Wonderful. Should we tell them the times again?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So the showcase will be from 5 to 8 on April 8th at the high school and at the elementary. We are asking at the elementary that families that it's A through L come from 5 to 6:30, and then M through Z 6:30 to 8. But again, if they can't come at that time, we're not going to kick you out. Okay, so
Right.
if you because we understand that there are work times that people aren't going to be able to come due to their work schedules and whatnot. And then at the high school,
I think we said 8th grade and 10th grade from 5 to 6:30.
correct.
Right? And then 9th grade and 11th
11th.
grade. Okay, for the second session.
Alrighty. Well, I would ask you if you would like to tag your Twitter handles, but this is for Shenandoah. So make sure you guys are following Noble Local Schools on Twitter, Noble Local Schools on Facebook. Do you guys have Instagram? You probably, maybe.
I don't know that we do on.
I don't know.
That's a really
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's going to be one now. Dan just wrote that down as he was listening.
Yeah.
But no, so yeah, Instagram it's a different one. It's one that
It is.
we try to develop an audience on, and we do a little better on there than most things like us as far as followers because we're hitting it really hard. But it's definitely a niche thing where it's like pictures, but then there's a little bit of a description, but it's more visual. But yeah, so make sure you guys are following all of them, following us at the OTR podcast on Instagram. You can see clips. You can see who's coming up next. You can see stories about all this stuff that's happening before it happens. And make sure you're following Kilogram Productions on Facebook, on YouTube, because YouTube's where you're probably watching this at. So you're probably already following us there. If you're not, go down there and hit subscribe. And we're going to let these guys get out of here. We might go find Dan and Justin hiding somewhere, or maybe they're somewhere in town. We'll have to go find them. But no, seriously, thank you for coming on and talking about the new stuff coming to Noble Local Schools. And be sure to share this out there when we put it out.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
All righty. Well, again, thank you. And it's time for you to leave. See ya.